that I know from you, I don't think you have an integrity issue at all, brother. I mean, your stuff is rock solid.
Thank you, man.
You know, a bunch of these guys out here talking smack, man, doing these videos. I'm like, okay, let's go to the bank or let's look at some tax returns.
It's so true, though, dude. Well, first of all, it's because you and I are in an industry where it attracts all the Lamborghini people, right? Like, dude, drive my car, and they're renting it from, for $1,000 for the video.
What do you drive, Mike? I'm just curious. If you want to,
You know what? It's funny. You know what is really funny? You're gonna love this. My wife and I watched your car video. I thought it was a weird video to see you shoot because it wasn't real estate, but I thought, man, that's kind of a cool video to shoot because it's wealth related. I drive a 4Runner.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's the millionaire next door. It's the millionaire next door.
What am I? I mean, not to say that I don't want the that someday I
Tesla,
will get the Mustang or the Tesla or the Mustang. Yeah, but for me it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't fill the hole. I guess.
I find a lot of real estate guys, the real estate dudes, they don't give two craps about their car. I'm thinking like, man, the car. I remember you asked about the car. They don't even know what they drive.
No, because they don't care. It's like I don't have to impress anybody. You know what I mean?
No. I'm like, you're joking, right? You're driving but you wrote anyway. So I'm saying to say, I'm like, Mike, you're an official real estate dude. Like, you're not. You go to the foreclosure auctions. I'm like, these dudes are carrying around cashier's checks, driving a daggone Buick 19.
It's so true. Well, you know what? It's funny. We were driving the same car because don't you drive a Santa Fe?
I got a Hyundai and I lease it. I don't even own it.
Yeah, and we used to have that car, and it's a great car. And so it's one of those things, man. Especially when you have family and stuff. Well, you need a big. I mean, you just need something to get it done so you can get back on the grind, man.
Get on the grind. Round up. Greetings, y'all. Greetings. Come on in. Come on. It is good to see you guys this evening as we continue with our Black Friday week great deal giveaway-a-thon. Is that a give-a-thon? I don't know.
Giveaway-a-thon.
Yeah, this is cool. I get to hang out with some real winners, and I personally am interested. I'm not like fully on the side to do multifamily right now. I'm studying, looking at what Mike is doing. But we're bringing you Mike Fritz this evening talking about multifamily investing. What up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, Chris? And everybody, how's everybody doing this amazing Tuesday? I'm so excited to be with y'all talking about multifamily. There's no place I'd rather be.
I know that. Are you cooking or eating? What are you doing?
Me?
Do you cook or do you just eat?
Oh, man, I'm not a cook at all. I wish I was, though, because I see people that can. Because here's the thing. I love to eat. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and anybody that knows out here knows In-N-Out Burger is like one of the best places ever. And so I don't cook, but I love to eat.
So do you do Thanksgiving or you don't? Is
that this year we won't go home for Thanksgiving. So my wife and I will chill. We'll go hiking or something, but
okay,
we'll go home for Christmas and chill with our fam.
So I'm just okay. I'm not cooking. I'm just eating. My wife.
You just eating, man.
I don't know how to.
No, me neither. Yeah, my family Thanksgiving, man. I just eat. Eat. My wife's a good cook, but I just eat.
Nice. Round up. So tonight and continuing with raising your financial literacy, another portion of that or a leg is with multifamily, and Mike is going to give us some tips and pointers tonight on how to locate this stuff and financing and how you build a multi-million-dollar multifamily portfolio. Mike, I'm so curious to find out how you put this all together. Thank you for sharing with us tonight.
Oh, man, it's so good to be with you all. I love talking about multifamily real estate. And I think one of the reasons, there's a couple of reasons why people don't get into multifamily real estate. Number one, they look at the sticker price, right? And so the first thing they look at and they're like, man, that's a $450,000 building, or man, that's $1 million. How in the world am I going to get into a building that big when I don't have any cash or I don't have any capital or whatever? And so they discount that, or they look at a real estate deal and they're like, yeah, but that's only going to make me $500 a month. I'm actually going to show you something today, how you can make money actually doing the deal, not even from the deal. I'm going to show you how to make money doing the deal.
Nice.
And so that you can actually, so let's say you make $500 a month off one of your multifamilies, but I'm going to show you a fee you can charge for putting the whole deal together. I'm going to show you that today so that you can make money right away, your first deal, and not have to wait for the checks to roll in from rent. I'm going to show you how to do that because one of the couple things I see, sticker price, and yeah, but it's a lot of money to only make $400 or $500 a month. I could do a bunch of flips and I could make a bunch more money. But I'm going to show you how why I replaced flipping and wholesaling with this strategy, because it gives me money now and money passively. So that's what I'm gonna work through today.
Real quick, Mike, does your presentation include a little backstory on you, or do we need to talk about that before we get to that?
No, I'm going to talk about that before we even go into that.
Okay,
cool. Talk about that. If you cool with that, if I just
share a little
bit about me,
I want to.
So I went on my first date in 6th grade. I asked a girl to recess, and that's where my story starts. I'll tell you why it starts there. I asked this girl to recess, and she said yes. She probably should not have. She said yes. It was the greatest first date in the history of dating because I've been married to that woman for 19 years. And that's where my story starts. And the reason my real estate story actually starts there is because my wife and I got married when we were 20. We got married really young and got married right out of high school, essentially. And right when we got married, I asked my parents to help me. I was a builder at the time. I asked my parents to help me to get a loan so I could build a house.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build a house. But instead of building a house, I built a duplex. My very first place I lived in was a little apartment while I was building this duplex. And I built this duplex. My wife and I moved into half. We rented the other half out. We lived for $100 a month when we got married in a brand new place.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I share that story is one of the best ways you can get into multifamily, depending on your family situation, is you can house hack, buy a property, live in half, rent the other half out. You live mortgage free while you're saving up and continuing to build your real estate empire. That's where mine started. Now, it doesn't start there for everybody, and it doesn't matter what age you are. You can start busting into real estate today.
Nice.
But that's where mine started. So I started I was a small town kid. 3,500 people was my hometown. So you're looking at somebody that grew up in a very small town, diagnosed ADD, ADHD, every AD you can imagine label that exists. When I was in 2nd grade, they tried to medicate it out of me. They could not get this crazy out of me because I'm going to bring it to you today.
That's terrible.
No, but it's true, though. I was diagnosed all this stuff, and I graduated. So a lot of people think with real estate, they listen to people like you, Kris, see, the amazing online following with what you build is unbelievable. And they see people that are successful, and they assume we have this kind of like this chip or this intellect. We just were born with it. And let me tell you something real quick. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA.
Good Lord.
I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA and started a business when I got out of high school, sold that business at 24 and stepped foot on a college campus the first time at age 25. So when people say, you've got to have this intellect to get into real estate, I'm telling you, I didn't read a book until I was 23 years old. And so I tell you all that to say, anybody can do this strategy. These strategies I'm talking about today, they really are just open for the taking. So that's my story a little bit. And then when I was 25, I actually I went to college to be a pastor, and then I pastored for about 7 years. I was a youth pastor, and then I started traveling the country full time, speaking to youth Christian camps and that kind of thing, just sharing the message. And then I started realizing I was really loving business and started to get a little bit back into real estate. And in 2012, I got into real estate, and I never looked back. But I have to give a quick nod, however, too. I gave a quick nod to my wife earlier. I have to give another one because she's kind of an interesting woman. She read Rich Dad, Poor Dad before I did. She read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, woke me up in the middle of the nap. It's like, dude, you got to read this. This thing's amazing. This is going to change her life. Wow. And so that partnership has meant a lot to me over the years, and still does, because of that support. And in 2012, we did it again. We bought a duplex, moved in half, rented the other half out, and just started kind of building our portfolio a little bit by a little bit by a little bit until I really learned how to do this. I knew nothing when I got started. I knew nothing. Kris, you remember when you first got started in real estate and you were trying to figure this thing out as you go? How many mistakes did you make in the early days?
All of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say
All of
I
them.
always say I made mostly mistakes in the early days. I made
More
mostly mistakes, and that was kind of most of what I did. But I
mistakes.
did hire a mentor and started to learn this multifamily game. I started to learn, like, okay, what does it look like to invest in multifamily? So a couple reasons keep people from multifamily. Number one is that sticker price. It's a little bit more expensive. Number two, I don't know how to get the capital for a deal like that. That's number one. Then number two really is, yeah, but I go through all that, I get all that money, and then it only makes me X number of dollars per month. I'm going to show you why you want to go into multifamily.
Nice.
So my passion, as you know, real estate is multifamily, but it's passive income. Throw in the chat if you love passive income, by the way. Throw in the chat if you'd like some passive income to just be coming in, whether you get up or watch Netflix or hang with your kids or go to the beach or whatever. Throw in the chat if you'd love some passive revenue.
There you go. And you know what? I think it's good for our minds to be magnetized with that, Mike, because what we focus on grows, right? What we focus
Absolutely.
on grows. And it's like, if you don't think about it, if you're always just thinking about earning, then your passive income will never grow.
Exactly. And that's, I think we grew up learning that we think about all the jobs we got. We were given a check for hours of work. So we translate that's how it's supposed to go. And so as we, you know what I mean? And we don't think that money can actually make money for me, and I can actually lever other people's money to make money for me every single month, and I don't have to get up and I don't have to go to work. Nice. But this isn't just so we can be lazy. But the point is, I love real estate because it allows me to fulfill the mission.
Yeah.
So whatever that is for you, if it's your kids, your family, if it's you want to find your significant other, you want to travel, you want to help your church, whatever it is, I love real estate. It gives me the passive revenue to give the time so I can fulfill that mission, right?
Freedom.
And that's actually why I got out of some of the transactional real estate, like wholesaling or flipping. And by the way, those are great strategies. I'm not down in those strategies, but I got out because I wanted something to pay me every single month, whether I was swinging a hammer or at the title office or not.
Yep.
And that's why I really started looking at the passive income investors that were really earning, like, what are they doing? And I saw a lot of them investing in buy and hold real estate and then multifamily strategically. And let me tell you one of the reasons why I think a lot of people should be going after multifamily, especially right now with what's going on in the world. I hate to project this, but we are going to see a tsunami of foreclosures hit the market probably in the next year to 18 months.
Just be honest. Be honest.
You know, that's the truth, right? I don't want it to happen, but it's probably going to happen because we have a lot of people that can't make their payment due to lost jobs or whatever. Those people are going to be turned into renters, and multifamily is one of the number one asset classes that can weather an economic recession because it is a necessity and it's housing.
Wow.
And so I tell people this all the time. Think about this. Interest rates are low. So that's why real estate market's still high. But when people lose their home, all those people, they need to live somewhere. And that's why anytime we see the foreclosures go up, multifamily real estate, often rents go up because the demand goes up for rentals or places for people to stay. So that's why multifamily real estate's a great thing to be doing right now. A lot of people ask me, Mike, what are you doing right now with COVID going on? Are you scared to invest? I closed on a property 30 days ago that I'm going to go over with you today, and I'm closing on a property next week. Nice. And I put another offer and 2 offers in today because I think when people freeze and pull back, that's the time to rush in.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I love what Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett said, when people are greedy, you hold back. But when people are scared, you rush in.
It's crazy you mentioned that. My business partner, Ron, he works for a company. They got 7,000 doors.
Ooh.
They're flying him around the country, Mike, looking for multifamily to buy because the owners are so scared.
Yep.
The owners are scared.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of people won't tell you this. They won't tell you that rents this year, rent collection has been the same as last year. They won't tell you that. It's been about the same. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that's because of government money. Maybe, but it's also because we're seeing 2 things happen in the economy. while we're seeing some industries go down, we're seeing lots of industries skyrocket.
Boom, like Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom, Amazon, some of these tech companies are blowing up. They're absorbing a lot of that job loss inventory, a lot of that job loss. When people lose their jobs, they can go to different industries. So multifamily, it's number one, it's one of the most recession-proof markets. And here's the other reason I love it. It's for something called forced appreciation. Now, a lot of people don't know what forced appreciation means. Forced appreciation is anytime you increase the rent or increase we'll just call it the income, you increase the income or you decrease the expenses, your building is worth more money. For example, let's say you buy a duplex and it brings in $1,000 a month, that's $2,000, but you know the market's $1,200 a month. When you increase those rents $200 each side, you increase the value of that building. So now, because the bank sees that as they see multifamily kind of as a business, not just a piece of real estate, because they can't get their head around single family homes as rentals because those are still single family homes. But when you start getting a multifamily, they start seeing it as a business that actually generates revenue. Now, we know single family homes can be buy and hold, but banks can't think outside the box sometimes. And so, but I say that to say, I love multifamily because you can control the speed of appreciation. You buy properties where the rents are low, you increase the rents, your value goes up, right? Your value goes up. In fact, I just bought a property where a guy bought it for about $700,000 and he increased the rents so much. He just sold the thing for $1.2 million.
Wow.
I mean, think about it, do the math on that. Just because the rent, he almost doubled the rents because they were in it was such a distressed property. So he put some money into it, raised the rents, and he saw a huge appraisal just because of that. So multifamily, it's powerful. But today, I want to talk to you about two specific things. That's why multifamily. But two specific things are that most people get hung up on is how to find them, or the good ones, and how to fund them. How do I get deals and how do I get money? Find deals, find money. And then the third leg of the stool is operations. How do you get them to, how do you get somebody to operate them so that it gives you actual freedom? So and keep your questions going. Kris will feed me questions.
Yeah.
Any questions you guys have coming in, Kris, and pause me at any minute, man. We got questions coming in because I want to make sure I answer questions today for anybody on here that wants or is thinking about multifamily. I don't want you to make a lot of the mistakes I did. And so get your questions ready as we go cranking here.
Yeah, put them in a roundup. Make sure you get them. Your questions, just put them in the chat box there. Whenever you see this, if you're not live with us, you can put a mic. We'll come back and answer them in the comments. But if you are just joining us, we've got 70 people here hanging out with Mike Fritz, is the Multifamily CEO. The man has got a multi-million-dollar portfolio in different states. Mike, you invest in, is it more than one state or what?
Yeah, we're in 4 different states. Yep.
Nice. That's cool. 4
different states. And, that was one thing I learned early on. One of the things that a lot of people do is they invest where they live. Not a bad idea. However, sometimes investing where you live is not the best place to invest, especially in multifamily. Multifamily is driven. Let me tell you, if you want to know where to invest, I'll tell you right now. There's three caveats and things you think of when you look at markets to invest in multifamily, but you can really boil them down to one: follow jobs. Follow jobs. Where are jobs? That's where people live, obviously. Follow jobs, and those are the markets you'll see nationally. Follow jobs, and those markets are booming. Now, there's 3 things I look at for markets to invest in: jobs, population growth, and landlord-friendly states. And that's something a lot of people don't think of, but I would not suggest investing in like a New York or California because you can have tenants live in your place for 1, 2, up to 2 years sometimes without paying rent, and it's just the eviction process is so hard.
Wow.
And you imagine when your rent is $4,000 a month in some of these apartments, and they're not getting it for a year or 2. Imagine that kind of revenue,
Lord.
right?
Oh,
and so
Lord.
I always want to protect the people that listen. Don't invest in places that are tenant friendly. Invest in landlord friendly states. By the way, just a couple. I'll just give you a couple: Texas, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Ohio, Florida, great markets. Nice. Great nice. Landlord friendly market. And Virginia, I think Virginia is a great market too. Actually, I've got a couple buddies that invest there.
I don't have any problems here getting people. I have not
No.
ever not yet had a problem getting a tenant out, Mike.
Yeah. Virginia is a good one. I've actually, I have a buddy that invests there in Richmond,
Nice.
and Virginia is a good market as well. And so you want to look at states. Phoenix is pretty good. I mean, Arizona, I live in Phoenix, and so this is a pretty good market. But again, continue to focus on jobs and population growth. And a lot of people say, well, aren't those the same thing? You can have population growth in retirement communities that aren't necessarily job growth. And so you want to make sure. I like to look for both, and I like to look for that landlord friendly. So keep those three in mind, right? Keep those three in mind. Keep those three in mind, okay? So what I'm going to do, because multifamily is it's hard for people to get their heads around, Chris. What I thought I'd do today is talk a little bit about a deal that I've actually done. I'm going to show you an actual deal, because here's what I've realized. I can teach you why multifamily, which I just did, forced appreciation. Oh, by the way, the place appreciates, multifamily goes up in value, and you can depreciate it on your taxes. I mean, this is why real estate investors pay less taxes than their assistants and people that work for them, because we can depreciate on our taxes on a property that actually appreciates in reality. That's crazy. The greatest thing ever, right? It's
crazy, right?
It's
you don't
crazy.
even know we don't even know we're walking into this world. You're like, you mean I took a loss on that? Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that.
I know, right? I know. People don't. That's why Warren Buffett, kind of took some heat when he said he pays less taxes than his assistant. Donald Trump has said that as well, because these investors, they can bury a lot of it in those depreciation numbers, and it's all legal. None of it's illegal. It's just a lot of the benefits to investing in real estate.
Not to mention the IRA stuff, the 401k, the insurance policy. I mean, it just goes on and on, right?
You got. In fact, I'm going to come back to the IRA 401k, because when you're looking for investors, it's really important that you know that stuff. Really important that you know that stuff, because I'll talk through that just a little bit as well.
Cool.
But I figured, I can talk about the multifamily in the markets, which I just touched on, which this video is going to be on Chris's channel. So go back and watch through it, because I talk pretty fast. Make sure you go through the content again. But the reasons to get into multifamily: you have passive revenue. You have a lot of appreciation, of which you can force by raising the rents. You have depreciation on your taxes, and it's recession resistant. It's not recession proof, but it's recession resistant. What that means is, if we see an economic tank, the value of your building will go down, but your cash flow won't. Your cash flow won't. Your cash flow stays up until the value returns and then goes above. That's what happened in 08, 09. People that owned multifamily in 08, 09, their value tanked, but their cash flow didn't tank, and they were able to keep their bills paid, and then the value rose, and then now we're at one of the best markets we've ever seen, right? And so that's one of the multifamilies is recession resistant. It's phenomenal.
How does your gut feel, Mike, if your value goes down on your property? I mean, in my gut, I'm like, I don't even care. I'm making $3,000 a month. I don't know. Tell me how I want my viewers to understand.
How I think, because I invest first in multifamily for cash flow. That's my first reason to invest, is cash flow. I need to get my investors' money, and me. We all need to make money every single month, right? No, rarely are we investing for when we sell the building. We're investing for when we have the building. Now, when you sell it, you can make a lot of money if you force appreciate the building. And if that tanks, what do? Instead of holding it 2 years, you hold it 6, 7 years, and then you sell it then, or refinance then. But the point is, if the value goes down, I'm still making cash. And one of the things I love about multifamily versus single family, because I've had some single families in the past, is if a tenant moves out of single family,
you're done.
It stops. Yeah. Multifamily, you got somebody else backing you up, right? You have somebody else backing you up. And so I love that fact that if a tenant moves out, let's just call it a duplex, a tenant moves out, I still have somebody there paying most of the mortgage, most of the taxes and insurance and bills. And that really is a good buffer there that you don't have to worry about in multifamily. And the more units you have, of course, the more buffer you have. So we are going to talk. I see people asking about funding and stuff. We're going to talk about all that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to walk you through a deal of how I found it, how I funded it, and how I operate it. And then I'm going to walk you through how much I made on it. Because I think that those are the things people always want to know. How'd you find it? How'd you fund it? How did you What's the operations look like? And then how much do you actually make, Mike? How much do you make?
Yeah.
And so I figure I just walk you through a deal. How's that sound, Chris?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to share the screen. I'm like, I want to see it.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So again, keep your questions cranking. And after I go through this deal, we'll pause. We'll answer some questions, and then we'll have we have a cool prize for you guys today.
Yeah, so, we got a Black Friday thing. You know, your boy been negotiating with Mike for a week now. We're trying to put everything together for you. This stuff ain't easy, y'all.
And this guy's got Chris. You're a good salesman, my friend.
Thank you.
You're a good salesman. But no, I love multifamily for all the reasons that I've mentioned. And I think everybody can get into multifamily. This isn't something, multifamily isn't for the uber rich. It's not for only the people that know what they're doing. It's for the people that are willing to take action on what we're teaching here. This isn't for the uber elite people. Anybody can invest in multifamily. You just have to be willing to take action and do what we're talking about today. So if I could walk you through a deal, just put in the chat. If I can walk you through a deal, show you what I did. You guys okay with that? Okay, just raise that virtual hand for me. Let me know that we're good. Good. I want to move forward with you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share how my last deal. This is my recent deal I closed about 30 days ago. I'm closing another one this next week here, but this is one I just closed. This is a 6-unit building. It's called Suites on 933. This is a really, it actually was a office building. By the way, this is a cool thing to know. This is an office building that was converted to condo or to apartments. Now, okay. just a side note, as we continue to see people go virtual and work from home, we're going to see a lot more office buildings transitioned over to apartment buildings.
Wow.
That's actually what I'm doing right now. I put 2 offers today in on office buildings that I'm going to convert to apartment buildings because they're empty.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what's going to be the wave of the future, I believe, is repurposing a lot of this commercial buildings where they're not being used because they were office buildings and now everybody's working from home off Zoom. Mm-hmm. And so this was an office building. So this is one of my, I call it my sexy 6 unit because it's just such a pretty building. I love it. And so, but again, how do you get into a building like this? What does it look? So as I walk through a deal, here's the way I look at a deal: how you find it, how you fund it, how you operate it, but then actually how much do I make personally? Because everybody wants to know, okay, what does a deal like this look like? What does it cost? This specific 6 unit is in South Bend, Indiana, right next to the Notre Dame University campus, almost right on the edge of the campus. Mm-hmm. And so we'll walk through how I found it. So I do something called a property profile. Here's what a property profile is. A property profile is I take out it doesn't have to be like on a legit brochure or anything. It can literally just be in an email. But I reach out to real estate agents and say, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, I'm looking for a 6 to 10 unit building around $500,000 that's bringing in this much in rent, whatever the numbers are. I reach out to them and let them know what I'm working on and let them know what I'm looking for. And I call that a property profile. Now, why do I do that? Because I want those agents to know when my property crosses their desk. Does that make sense? They're looking at properties all day long. Well, how do they know when to think of me? Because I'm going to give them a property profile. It's funny. This specific building, I had emailed an agent months before, said, "Hey, I'm looking for this number of units, XYZ. If you find anything, let me know." She sent me some stuff back and forth. Then all of a sudden, I'm sitting at my desk one day, and it comes an email comes through, and in the subject line it reads, "This property has your name on it," and it's this specific property. Now, let me ask you a question. How would she know it had my name on it?
That's crazy.
Because of a property profile. And this is something nobody does and nobody teaches when you're working with real estate agents. There's something in business we call TOMA, T-O-M-A, top of mind awareness. It's a marketing strategy, but it's the same with brokers. How do they know when to email you versus somebody else who's looking for a property? Because you sent them a property profile and said, I'm looking for a 2 to 4 unit building in the $200,000 range. Let me know what crosses your desk, whatever. In this specific area, maybe on this street, or maybe the area you want to invest in or whatever. But getting that property profile to a real estate agent can change the game. Because then they know when to reach out to you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah. Nice.
So again, that property profile. Were you going to add something there, brother?
No, I'm thinking, shoot, I need to start giving my brokers property profile sheets for my single stuff.
You know, it's funny. I used to just call up brokers and just say, my name's Mike Fritz. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking for multifamily. Do you have anything? I found that was too broad because there's lots of multifamily. Anything from a 2 to 500 units is multifamily. So what are you really looking for?
Gotcha.
So I learned that the more specific I could be, the more opportunities hit my desk. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but what if I tell them, 2 to 10 units and a 12 unit comes in, but that'd be a good building for me. You can open the range up a little bit, but what I have found is when you niche in to a property and this is what you're looking for, they just seem to show up. I'm telling you, man, trust me on this. They just tend to, it's almost like that law of attraction kind of principle. When you start putting out there that this is the property I'm looking for, it's kind of like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's kind of like when the investor is ready, the property appears. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how I found this. I built a property profile, shot it to some agents, and an agent found a property, hit their desk, and it just happened to be exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm really, really glad we got this property. It's a really good property because I had that profile. So that's how I found it. And I think real estate agents are going to be a really good partner for you, for everybody, to connect with as many agents as you can in the market you're looking for, to continue to acquire deals. Now, just let me make a quick note on multifamily. You may have to go after commercial real estate agents and work with commercial agents that specialize in multifamily, because there's a lot of commercial agents that specialize in leasing office space or selling retail or leasing retail or, selling industrial. Try to find brokers that focus on multifamily. That'll really help you because they'll know a lot of stuff that's for sale.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Keep blowing up that chat. Let me know if you have any questions. Keep them coming. And Chris, if you want to pause and hit any, just let me know.
I want you to get through this thing. We'll do Q&A. We got about 10, 15 more minutes, and then we'll go right into the goodies you get for them.
Here's how I funded it. So I raised private money. I got the bank to finance the rest. Zero money out of my own pocket. $0. I own a good sized portion of this building, equity in this building, and I put in $0. I raised private money for 25% of the actually about 30% of the down payment. No, it actually was about 27, 28%, because 25% went to the bank for the down payment. And I'll walk you through that in a minute. And then all the closing costs and fees. So I had to go raise that money. And then I got a bank to finance the rest. And that's how a lot of multifamily is done. You can get a bank to finance it. And a lot of you might be thinking, yeah, but my credit score is a little bit lower. The beautiful thing of multifamily is partner with somebody. Find somebody doing it. There's a reason I do deals with lots of people, because they come to me and they're like, Mike, I have the capital, but I can't get the financing. Well, I have the financing teams. I can get the thing financed. They bring some capital. And we do a deal together. That's why partnerships work in multifamily. So if you can't get financed, you partner with somebody who's doing multifamily and say, listen, I'd love to partner with you on this deal. Can you help me get the financing? Or maybe you can get the financing yourself, but you go to the bank and get the rest of that money. And I put in $0 of my own capital.
Nice.
$0. So the money I'm about to tell you that I made on this deal, I put $0 money into the deal. So when I visited this building, I put an offer in on the building about 60 minutes later. I knew I wanted this building. Because I saw the rents were lower than they could go, and the owner was paying all the utilities. Well, I knew that I was going to change that, and I was instantly going to increase the value of the building.
What would make a landlord have the rents lower than the market right now, Mike?
Yeah, just so a lot of times when because these were newly renovated, a lot of times they renovate them, they lease them out at below market rent so they can sell them to somebody like me who can do the rest of the work and experience the rest of the appreciation.
Oh, gotcha.
Does that make sense?
So is it a repair? Was it a repair thing?
Yeah, they repaired it, but it's called leaving meat on the bone. So what they do is they lease it. Like, let's say I can get probably 1,700 out of these units. They lease them out at 1,400.
Yeah.
And so they leave $300 of value. So when I see the building, I'm like, hey, I can raise those rents and I can make more money instead of them doing it. Because if they do it, then they're not going to. It's going to take them probably another year or two. And a lot of times people want to sell and move on.
Gotcha.
Yep. And this specific situation, the owner was buying a company and needed to free up the capital to buy the company.
Okay.
Yeah. So this specific way. So that's how. So I use private money. Kris talks a lot about raising private money. Kris, how has private money changed your real estate career?
Well, here's the thing. For me, that was the missing piece for me, Mike. It was like I remember I had a lender, a bank that was good with me. They were like, Kris, we're ready to do business. I'm like, they would finance 80%, you know. And I'm like, damn, this age $100,000. I'm like, where? I know they'll give me the 80, but where am I going to get this 20 grand from? It felt like at that time a mountain.
Oh, totally.
20 grand. I'm like, how am I going to do? But when you think about private money, it's like you just make a phone call. Oh, now, you know, just make a phone call and it's wired. But it can be that easy. But I think it comes that easy when you get the skill.
Totally. I could not agree more. In fact, this is one of the things people think about when you're starting off. I know right now you're probably thinking, yeah, but where am I going to get somebody to give me, you know, $20,000 or $30,000 to invest in a deal? That's how we all started. And we just started asking people till we built up some relationships with people. Because today I have more money, more private capital than I actually have deals to invest in.
It's weird. That's a weird paradigm, Mike. And it's almost like unbelievable when I used to hear people tell me that too. I'm like, man, I don't believe that mess.
I know, I did too.
We got more money than you get.
Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, right. That's just a sales pitch. No, I totally, yeah.
So
I
true,
didn't believe
Mike.
it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there's so much I want. I've told myself, I don't remember the year, but I'm like, there is more money in the system than there will ever be people to borrow it. I mean, we got trillions going around. You know, when you think about it like that, it's like,
so I'll actually pause here to underscore what Kris just said. There's $9 trillion in retirement funds right now that could be invested in real estate.
Good.
Now think about this. 30% after 0809, when the banks tightened up on their lending and they were making it harder for people to get loans. 31% of people in America right now own their homes outright. Now think about this. Interest rates, we just bought our personal residence here in Phoenix, Arizona at 2.8%.
Good Lord.
You can go to somebody who has equity in their home, ask them to take a home equity line of credit at 2.8%, invest it in multifamily, get 9%, and you're getting them 6 to 7% on their equity, and it's costing them no money.
That's smoking right there, bro.
You see what I'm saying? This is why it's easier to build a lot more money than you have deals. Because once you understand that how people can invest with your deals, you can be like, oh, it's not just the person that has what I call mattress money. It's not just people that have a pile of cash under the mattress said, I'm looking for somebody to invest in deals. Most people already have their money invested in the stock market or an IRA or something that they can pull it out and invest in your deal. But we have to know how to do that and navigate those conversations.
Yep. Flap your lips.
You gotta know what an SDIRA is, a self-directed IRA, where people can, if they have an IRA, they can move it over into an SDIRA where they can now invest in your real estate deals. That money comes back in and the money they make isn't taxed. It's just placed in there. Can you imagine that? That's why we help people. I love being a real estate investor because primarily I'm a problem solver. I help people solve problems of passive income and generational wealth and building retirement funds. And I love doing that. But if we're going to raise money to get into our deals, we got to know the different kinds of money that are out there. So that's how I funded it.
It's
And I'm going
strange
to
you
walk
mentioned
you
that.
through how
Okay.
much. What's that, Chris?
It's strange you mentioned that. I had a lot of resistance to
Mm.
that part of the business. I just wanted to be a real estate guy. At the
Yep.
beginning, I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with that IRA. Then I have to learn how to talk APR, yield, interest rate. I don't want to do it. I just had so much resistance. But then I started to get into it, house after house after house. I saw what the bank was doing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm already doing it. So
Yep.
why not talk to regular people? It's like, if you're already paying a bank,
Yep.
why the hell would you go and say, Miss Smith, what about this and that? So
That's so true. It's so true because, and I remember when I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Robert Kiyosaki said, you really need to learn taxes. I'm like, what the heck would I want to do that for?
yeah, I don't want to do that.
But then I started learning, wow, when you learn a lot of the tax laws and you learn how to navigate your money, it really saves you and earns a lot of money. That's why people kind of get mad at the rich getting richer. It's just that they understand some things that maybe others do not. And we need to get that message to the world, which is why I love what you're doing, Chris, here on this channel, is spreading wealth information, a wealth of information, but on wealth, so that anybody can have access to these principles. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So you're going to raise private money for some of this deal, and then you're going to go get the bank to loan you the rest. And you don't have to have any money out of pocket. So when people say multifamily is too expensive, I'm like, no, we just don't know how to do it yet. You just don't know how to do it. When you find out, it doesn't matter if it's 500,000 or $1 million. It has to do with how much money we can get raised, not how much money the deal is. Okay. So that's how I funded it. As I raised private money for part of it, had the bank loan me the rest. And then, so here's what that looked like. The building cost $720,000, and I needed about $200,000 to close on this deal. 25% of that was for the bank, the loan to value. They'll give me 75%. So 25% was down payment. So I think 180,000 ish was down payment, and then 20,000 was closing costs, inspection, appraisal, and an acquisition fee. What in the heck is an acquisition fee? Stick with me, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with me. What in the world is an acquisition fee? An acquisition fee is your keys to the kingdom. Stick around. And then, of course, how do I operate it? Well, I specifically, when I was working with my real estate agent and my lender, when we were getting about 3 weeks from the close, maybe about 30 days, I asked them, what's some good property managers in the area? They gave me some names. I started interviewing property managers. So right when we closed, I was able to hand the leases and the keys over to my property manager. They started collecting rent, and it was a smooth transition. And now I just simply get money put into account every month, and I don't do anything. I have the end of the building since I closed on it.
Oh, wow.
Because that I talk to her once a month, making sure everything's going good. Okay, how are we doing here? How are we doing here? How are we doing here? And we just make sure that because as a property manager, as a owner, I cast a vision for my manager. Like, okay, these units are $300 below market value. We need to get them all up $300. And I check in with her, making sure we're keeping that vision in line. That's how you operate a property.
That's crazy. Mike, when did you make the transformation from being the one the doer, as opposed to the person that's managing the doers or the people? Tell me about that transformation, because I think every successful entrepreneur has to.
Geez. So that's a great question. So when I first started, I was doing all my own management. Every time a toilet broke, every time a toilet leaked, every time a roof leaked, every time a sink leaked, every time anything happened, a hinge on a door broke, I was the one they called. And I actually hated real estate for that reason. I knew that it was valuable. I knew it would build wealth, but I hated it. I hated it because of that. And when I realized, I started looking around at the successful people that owned way more units than me. And I'm like, they don't do anything on their properties. And I don't mean they're lazy, but I'm like, they're out doing deals, which is what I love to do. They're out doing deals, not fixing toilets. How do they do that? And what I found was they just built the management fee in to the properties they purchased, right? So anytime they're looking at how much a property is going to cost to run, management's just part of it. If it doesn't work to have a manager in there, they don't buy the property. So I started saying, I need to be more careful about the properties I'm buying to make sure there's enough margin for management.
Gotcha.
And then my wife and I, we lived in Michigan, and that's where all of our properties were. I started a business and I launched it. It was out of Boston. I partnered with a guy. We actually moved out to Boston for a year, and that's how I kind of did it by accident. By moving away, I couldn't manage them. So I was either going to have to sell them or hire somebody. I was actually, ironically, at a church gathering, and one of my friends that I went to church with is like, "Hey, I'm launching a property management company," and I really trusted this guy, very, very good friend of mine. He's like, "If you're interested in me managing your properties, I'd love to give it a whirl." I'm like, "Sure, let's figure this out together." And he still manages them today.
That is cool, man.
And he's phenomenal. It's just, I trust him. I mean, because in property manager, you have to trust them. They are handling your money. You have to trust them. And so, he still manages them today, and he's just a phenomenal manager.
Nice.
And so, but that was a hard transition for me because I grew up watching my mom and dad own some rental property, but they did everything, everything. You know what I mean?
Well, I just think I don't want people to, man, it's just that you have to grow. And I just think it comes with time. People are wondering, like, even managing people and then the burden. And I want people to really understand the burden of managing large amounts of money. You have to know where this money is going, 100 here, 100 here, 200 there. It causes us to grow. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, this is how I want you to do it. Start off having a manager, and that way you don't have to go through the headache that I had.
Good point.
Start off with a manager. Your first property, just hire a manager. Don't even do it. Don't even become a good manager of the manager. Don't become a good manager. Because the truth of the matter is, unless you want to start a property management company, you're going to need to hire one anyway. You know what I mean?
Let me reintroduce you, Mike. We got 110 people on here. Listen to Mike Fritz talk about multifamily real estate investing. He's talked about how he found this deal, the financing aspect. I know you got some goodies for us, Mike. Real quick, you got any more pictures of that one, Mike? I want to see inside.
You know what? I actually I did not have any of the inside. I should have thrown some inside pictures.
Yeah.
I should have thrown some inside. You know what? I actually do. It's just in another presentation. I'll pull that up.
Y'all want to see? You got to give Mike a hard time, y'all. We didn't see the inside of this thing. It looks like
all right. So what we'll do? I'll finish up how much I made, and then I'll grab that presentation real quick.
All
right. Here we go. So this is what it looks like. So think about this. You found this deal. Now you have to go raise the money. I had to raise about $200,000. In the multifamily world, there's something called an acquisition fee. And this is something you charge your investors to do the entire deal. So you can make money. You're out raising money. You found the deal. You found the lender. You're the one managing this process, and you can charge anywhere from 2 to 4%. 3% seems to be a sweet spot when you're starting off. I would charge just a flat fee of $5 or $10,000 just to get you going. For this one, a 2% was around the $15,000 range. So I charged a $15,000 acquisition fee. Now I won't do it for less than $30,000. And here's the reason for that is you get up into $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million buildings. The acquisition fee is like, it can be $100,000. And so this is how multifamily people make their money. So you can actually go do a deal before you ever make any money on rent. And you can make $15,000 just like a flipper, just like a wholesaler, and make it in this without swinging a hammer.
Mike, you are opening me. I'm just like, why haven't I been doing this on all these daggone flips I've been doing, putting together all the financing and the deals and all this?
You're doing all the work, man. Charge a acquisition fee. Absolutely.
That is crazy, Mike. Thank you for that one. Round up. Y'all give Mike a thumbs up for that. That's nice.
That's what makes it so. This is what makes it really, really powerful because I'm going to skip to the bottom, then I'm going to talk about the middle one.
So you're right on the HUD with that. It's just like bam. I mean, it's just a fee right there.
Right there at the end, right when you close on the property.
That's sick, Mike. That's genius, brother.
Right when you close on the property, man. So here's the beautiful thing about this. You haven't made $1 on rent. You own a piece of the equity, but you've gotten paid for doing the work.
And it's worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No investor is going to come out and do this on their own. It's still worth it. It's still worth it.
Yeah, that's
And
worth every
then
penny.
at the bottom, I'm making about $700 a month in my equity. So I make $700 a month personally, like comes to my bank account from this property. And I charge a $250 a month asset management fee. Now, here's what an asset management fee is. An asset management fee is when the property manager's there and they need to call somebody, who do they call? What if like a furnace breaks and they need to get my okay to fix it? Who do they call? They calling my investors? They're calling me. Well, who's paying you for all that invested time? So I charge a small asset management fee of $250 a month. And that goes up if it's a 2 or 3 or a 4 or a $5 million building. It's a whole different ballgame. But usually it's around 2%. So I charge about $250 a month. And this is what I love about this, because some people are investing in single families and that's what they're making. And you can make more than that and still have no money into the deal. And this is just on the asset management fee. So I charge a little asset management fee, and I cut checks to our investors every quarter. Well, that takes time. So I'm covering all the time I'm putting into the deal. So if you look at the asset management fee and the equity, that means I'm making about $950 a month off this property, and I made $15,000 on the front end. I've put no money into the deal. Zero. All of you can do this, by the way. You can go find a deal and go raise the money today.
That's something.
You can do it. You can do it. This is why it's powerful, these kinds of deals. And this is why it's really, really important to make sure that you value yourself and are paying yourself for the amazing work you're doing in a deal. The investor wouldn't have it if you hadn't found it and built your property profile and raised the money. You did all the work, right? You should be highly compensated for the amazing work that you bring to a deal. And I remember when I first started, man, I undervalued the value I brought to a deal. I really did. How about you?
We undervalue ourselves. Yeah.
My
wife tells me every day, Chris, you're too cheap. Even the products that we sell, you're too cheap. You're too cheap. I'm like, man, I think being in the disc analysis, a high eye, you want to just serve the people so much. You're like, at the end of the day, you done ran 20 hours. You ain't making no money.
It's so true. That is because of the heart to help people.
That's right, man.
And sometimes we think, well, we get equity. In fact, I had one of my investors ask me the other day, but isn't the work you do putting into the deal, isn't that in turn for your equity in the deal because you're not putting any money? And I always say it this way. I said, no, I get equity in the deal because I invest my time, but I get paid for my expertise because I use my time well. Nice.
That is so
cool.
I
get paid for what I know. I get the equity is because of the time I put in. I make, because this acquisition fee pays me for the expertise. You know how much money I've spent on coaching over the years, Chris? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Who recover? How do you ever recover that investment if you're not charging for your expertise, right?
Very true.
And so this is the power of a multifamily deal. It's not just the rent. You can have an asset management fee, and you can actually charge an acquisition fee that can be as much or way more than flipping or wholesaling a house, and you still have no money into the deal. You didn't have to go, and you still are just generating cash from your investors. They're still making money, good money. They're making more money than they would in the stock market. And so, or anywhere else. And this is why I love multifamily real estate.
Nice.
Absolutely why I love it. So let me, I'm going to pull out of this presentation, Chris. You can.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll tell you here.
I want to get some. I'm going to get some inside photos for y'all.
Okay, yeah, we have 50 minutes now, Mike. We'll see what goodies you got, and let's get some Q&A for him, my friend.
Yeah, let's do it. Why don't we do that, and then at the end I can show. Why don't we do some? Show what we put together? You good with that, or you want to do some Q&A?
No, let's do it. Yeah, when you're pulling that up, Buddy wants to know, when you're renovating, how do you make sure you're not sinking too much money into it, Mike? Good question.
Good question. When you're renovating, yeah. So before you ever close on a property, you want to look at and do what I call is a renovation checklist. You want to look through how much it's going to cost before you buy a property. So if you're buying a 4-unit and you know it's going to take $5,000 to $6,000 per unit to fix this up, you can actually even, let's say you buy a 4-unit, it's going to take $10,000. So you're going to need $40,000. Mm-hmm. You can actually tack that onto the money you raise from your investors. and you can actually just raise a little bit more. They call that a capital improvement line item. You can raise that, let your investors, you raise a little bit more money. That way that renovation is taken care of, and now you can raise the rents. So
Nice.
how do you make sure that you don't over renovate? One of the things is having a good contractor in your back pocket in that area that can maybe look at the property, tell you what it's going to cost.
Gotcha. Good one. Good question, buddy.
That's a great question.
Where you at, Mike? What you want me to do?
Yeah, I'm going to walk through this real quick. Walk through what
Okay.
we have for him today.
Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Okay. Yep.
So this is one of our members in the Multifamily CEO. After taking Mike's training, she just secured an 8 unit where she's making $2,000 a month by applying these strategies. $2,000 a month on an 8 unit.
Nice.
That's a lot of capital. Imagine an extra $24,000 a year. This is what the training really helps people find deals, fund deals, and operate deals, right? In those 3 legs, making sure you can see results like this. And so Kris and I started talking, man. We started talking, Kris, we've been putting this together for a while, and making sure that the Black Friday thing, we thought, how can we give people some access to this content? So the end of 2020 into 2021 can be the some of the best years that they've ever had. So we put together a great package for you guys today. What we did at the end will kind of blow your mind. So stick with us. The Multifamily CEO really, and Kris, by the way, pause me if we have any questions come through that you need me to plug in. Sound good, brother?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, okay.
All right, man. So the Multifamily CEO course has been created so you can replace your income if you want to and live life on your terms. So how many of you would like to replace your income with multifamily real estate and leave your job if you want to? If you love your job, stay there. If it fulfills your mission, don't leave, please. But put in the chat if you're one of those people that said, you know what, I'd love to replace my income and at least have the opportunity to travel and do and live life on my terms and go to the country I've always wanted to visit and give to my church. Put in the chat if that's you. You're saying, you know what, I would love to see my income replaced so I can have my options opened up. Throw in the chat for us if that is you. So in the Multifamily CEO online platform, in the digital training, you're going to first learn the foundations, all the ins and outs of what you need to know to make the multifamily work. Today, we have a limited amount of time. I want to make sure this training is chock full of over 30 training videos helping you understand how to navigate the multifamily world. I have a zero to retirement, I should say plan, a zero to retirement plan. This is, if you have zero retirement, how many properties would you need to retire? And what would it look like? And I literally lay out the math of how you do it, how many properties you would need, and the number you should be shooting for. Freedom, by the way, the freedom number is not your income or is not your expenses. We have to go above that. If it's just to cover our expenses, any month where it's a little bit more, then we're short. And so I talk about that math and making sure you're set up for that. Finding deals on your terms. You know, some days I get up and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like looking for deals today. I'm gonna chill. And other days I'm like, I'm going after it. But the cool thing is, once you learn this system, you're the speed limit. You can do it as you wish. You can start finding anytime with this system. You can wake up any day, start contacting people, and start servicing deals, which you'll learn as you go on. The deals, finding the deals is the crux of the matter, because money's always out there, but deals it takes a very specific skill set to surface those babies. And then, of course, finding money and how to avoid overfunding, how to avoid having more money than you have deals, right? That's what I'm dealing with right now. How do you keep a deal flow strong enough to make sure you keep at where you're at with the capital you have? And then, of course, I want to help you operate like a pro. Operations is where the magic happens. It's the least sexy and it's the most important, because I'm telling you, a poorly operated properly won't make you money. Isn't that right, Kris?
I'm just thinking about, everybody loves flipping houses and doing this and I'm like, real wealth, excuse me, it's just boring as shit.
It's
boring.
It's so boring. It's every day. It's calling a broker. It's calling your property. That's boring. How wealth is built. You're right. It's
so
not sexy.
Boring. It's not sexy. Everybody wants to be So, I like the way that color, the tile. I'm like, that stuff is not wealth, man. That is,
No, it's not. I always tell people this, especially on multifamily. I even hesitated to show you that 6 unit because a lot of times people get caught up in, wow, the siding's pretty and the neighbors were nice. And
yeah.
no, the multifamily CEO tells you how to break everything down and let the numbers be your boss.
Mhm.
The numbers are your boss. I always say this. We have one boss that we never pay, but that pays us every day, and that's numbers.
I like that.
Because
Boss
the
is
numbers tell us what to do. We work for the numbers. They are our boss. Like when I see a property, I don't get attached to the beautiful doors and shutters and nice neighbors. I mean, I love all that stuff and that's great, but the numbers dictate everything, right?
Yeah.
So the multifamily CEO lays out how you go from where you are to an income replacement using multifamily real estate. And this is one of the things Kris and I are putting together. It's called Seller Financing Secrets. It is a live, or you're going to get access to the training, to the recording of the training. It's going to be recorded live, but you're going to get access to the recordings of that training. And this is going to teach you how to set up seller financing. Yes, even in multifamily. You can do seller financing in multifamily. I've done it many, many times where you can get the owner to be the bank and you can just make payments to the owner instead of going and getting a loan at a bank. That happens a lot in multifamily, and it's a great way for you to start building your portfolio.
How many hours is that one, Mike? I don't remember the seller
So
financing.
this training is about 6 hours of content, and I'm adding on another bonus training in that content. So it's going to be about a 6-hour training. And because what Kris and I talked about, Kris called me a couple days ago and said, hey, how do we turn the volume up a little bit on this thing? I said, let's do this. Today, for the first 15 people that come into this, we're going to give you a free ticket to the live event happening December 5th. You get a free ticket. You actually get to come and hang out with us live when we record this.
Nice.
You get to come and hang out with us live. And I'm going to show you something we're going to do at the end of that. The Seller Financing Secrets live event is going to teach you why would owners do seller financing? And again, if you don't know what seller financing is, all that means is you're making payments to the seller for the house rather than going to a bank. So sometimes you don't have to raise any money. Sometimes they'll finance the whole amount and you don't have to come up with any money. This year, I bought a 23 unit portfolio with zero money down on seller financing. It cost me no money. They handed me $1 million worth of property, no money.
Nice.
Because of this stuff here. And in that event, I'm going to walk you through why would they do it, how to find those owners, how to negotiate with those owners. This whole event is going to break this down. And the first 15 that come in at the end, we're going to give you a link to go. And the first 15, I'm going to track it, that come in today, you're going to get a free ticket to that live event.
Nice.
This is a buddy of mine that I've helped a lot. He said, I worked with consultants all over the years. None is as knowledgeable as Mike Fritz. This is what I love. I'm about to close on a 59 unit building after working with him.
Wow. That's cool.
Because of the content in the Multifamily CEO. That's why I want this to the world. My mission, just so you all know, is to help 10,000 people replace their income with real estate.
Nice.
With passive real estate. Now, that means they want to retire and no longer work where they're working, great. If they love their job, stay there, whatever. I just want to help people fulfill their mission. And a lot of times, the thing that keeps us from doing that is money. It's not having enough money to pay the bills and put kids in school and make sure kids have clothes or whatever your life looks like. That money a lot of times stops us. So what if we could take that off the table? What would you do if you could do anything?
It's crazy.
That's why I'm so passionate about helping that. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. It's almost like, I'll remember this. The first person that had opened my mind up to that was Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm nowhere close, round up. Please, I'm not comparing myself to Oprah, but I'm saying your life. I remember, Mike, when I was like, I just need to get 100,000. If I just make 100,000. And it's like, now I look at it, I'm like, I should have said 100,000 was my start, as opposed to that the goal. That should have been like, let's get started at 100.
Day one, right?
Yeah, it's like, what you're saying is replacing income is like, it's such. I think we make these small things big when reality is like, okay, I just need to make X amount of dollars a month, and I'll move to the next. That's just a step.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a really good point too, Chris, because I think sometimes we live in a world that tells us to set goals based on what we think we can accomplish, not
Society,
based
yeah.
on what we want to accomplish.
That's crazy. Yeah, man.
You
You're
know what
right.
I mean? And I think we all do that. We look at what we have accomplished in our past and we're like, well, I probably can only do this much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, 1.9 GPA, little town of 3,500 people. I mean, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty humble beginnings, right? So I don't think that I think anybody can apply this stuff. It just
Yep.
is a matter of, are you willing to do it? Because I love that story about Oprah, and she certainly is a amazing experience, amazing story of just inspiration, what she's done over the years.
Indy said 1.9. I gotta tell you this. It can be a genius to someone else's scale, Mike. You don't know what that scale. You know, it's like we're on their scale.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's so true. It's so true. Then this other thing I thought I'd throw in, I'm like, and I didn't even tell Chris, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna throw this in. At the end of the Seller Financing Secrets live event, I'm gonna do a group coaching session with just the people on this call today. I'm gonna do a free group coaching. So if you're not one of the 15, you'll just get the access to come in at the time of that coaching session. But if you get access, you'll get to stay for the whole training and that coaching session. But here's the thing. That event is going to be fire. I'm telling you, that thing is going to literally, the reason I built this content the way I did, I wanted to remove every excuse for people to get into multifamily real estate and make sure that it's accessible to anybody. You get access to me. You can get your tough questions answered. Because, you know, I don't know about you, Chris, when you bought courses over the years, I always buy a course and then I'm like, yeah, but I wish I could ask this.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to get the course and then you're going to have a week to go through some of it and bring your questions to the training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, you know, but here's the thing. I want them to, if they do have a question, I want them to be able to ask it, right? And so you're going to be able to do that.
Thanks, Mike.
And you can get started the right way. Remember, I was fixing toilets one day, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, real estate has got to be better than this. You know what I mean? I'm like, it has got to be better than this, but it's just because I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
I've been there. Is that wrong?
Right?
Let me ask you, Mike. I mean, you know, I think we're both like old geezers. I'm like, there is a right way and a wrong way to do this business, and I did it the wrong way.
Oh, so true, dude. I did it too. And I think the way we all start off limping and then we kind of figure out how to get our legs under us. It's kind of like watching a kid walk. They get up, you got a little one. When he starts walking, he gets up, walk a little bit, falls. But every time you get back up, you stay up a little bit longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's real estate, you know, but a lot of people are nervous to go out and to do it. And I'm telling you, one of the things this training is there to help you do is to give you some buffer and help you through that experience. For example, if you're taking other people's money, a lot of people are worried to raise money. And I don't know if you were like this, Chris. I was worried to raise money because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I was scared people would think I was broke. Like, why are you asking me for money?
Point too.
The hell you supposed to be the one with all the money. Now I got more capital and I still ask people for money and they want to give it to me more. Now it's crazy.
Oh yeah, they always want to give it to you when you don't need it, right? It's so true. It's like banks; they want to give it to you when you don't need it. And again, I don't want you to make the same mistake Chris and I did. This is why I put this little coaching thing in here, because I really think that when you dive into that training or go through the seller financing, some questions are going to come up. You can bring the list, and I'm just going to sit there, and it's just going to be a raw Q&A. Ask me what you want. This is obviously going to be virtual, and you're going to ask me whatever you want. And I'm gonna shoot from the hip. So Chris and I started talking. We're like, let's build a Black Friday roundup package. And so we put the Multifamily CEO together. That is sold for $1,000 by itself. Lifetime access to Seller Financing Secrets, the online training. Once it's completed, that's going for $1,000 by itself. You're going to get access to the Facebook group, which that's a big asset because I'm in there engaging with people a lot of times. And so that's an access, and you get that free group coaching call. And first 15, you're going to come to Seller Financing Secrets and hang out with us for 6 hours live and watch me teach that training and be there firsthand when this thing's actually being recorded. And this is one of the things I was so excited to give this thing away. So I created, over the years, people are like, yeah, but Mike, how do you analyze a deal? Like the numbers, the expenses, the income. And I just created a dynamic spreadsheet that does all the numbers for you. So you just plug in these green spaces are where you plug in the number. So when you talk to the broker, what's your sale price? What's the appraisal, inspection? You start putting these in, and all of a sudden down there on the yearly numbers, it's going to tell you your return on investment. This thing is completely dynamic. It's done for all you have to do is plug in the taxes, plug in the insurance, your management, vacancy, loss to lease, concessions. By the way, in the Multifamily CEO, I actually walk through this analyzer on exactly how to use it. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things, and I'm dynamically changing it all the time because there's some things I want to add, and you get all the updates of that as well.
Nice.
So here's what Kris and I put together today. The whole thing bundled together, each thing sold individually. We've got the Multifamily CEO, that's going at 1,000. Lifetime access to SFS, the Seller Financing Secrets, that's 1,000. Facebook groups, a couple hundred. Free group coaching call. I'm throwing in the deal analyzer, and for the first 15, you get a free ticket to Seller Financing Secrets Live. Nice. And all added up, that's $78.80 in value if you add everything up together that's sold individually for those amounts. And so Kris and I said, no, we're obviously not going to do that. So what are we going to do? So we said, well, let's do one investment of $997. And then we start talking, and we're like, all right, but how do we bring the Black Friday special to them? We said, you know what? Let's do this. Let's cut it in half. I'm like, Kris, are you crazy? And he said, let's cut it in half. Let's cut it down to $497. And I'm like, oh my word. Okay. So I've sold all this stuff at the high rate. You want me to cut it in half? And he said, yes. I said, all right. And then we got talking to more, and he said, let's just give him one extra little kiss on the cheek of another $100 and bring it down to $397. And I'm like, dude, you want me to drive it to their house and give it to them? What in the world? And he said, no, I want everybody to have access. And then I started thinking of our mission, helping 10,000 people. And I'm like, you're right, Kris, let's do it. So for the first 15 people, you're going to get access to the Seller Financing Secrets Live. If you're the 16th, you'll get everything except the live ticket. You'll get the recording of that event. You'll still get to come to the coaching. You get the analyzer, multifamily, and it's all for less than $400. Let me tell you something. This is literally a handful of meals out to eat. You are worth that. I promise you, you are worth that. Please, please, please. So now I'm going to, when I turn this next slide, Kris, go ahead and throw in that link.
Well, yeah, the link is, it's in the video description roundup. What I usually do is I put it in the video description. You can sign up for Mike's Multifamily Black Friday special. Go right below. They can't click on it, Mike, but on I have to put it on Facebook.
Okay.
Right there in the link, the video description roundup, the link is right there, and Mike put all this together.
And there's the link also. One investment, $397. Yep. You get all of this stuff. This deal analyzer, by the way, I'm going to email that to you individually because this isn't usually included in anything. So I'm going to actually, everybody that buys, I'm going to send you a personalized email, making you sure you have all your stuff. You're going to get it from my team, and we're going to copy and we're going to attach that deal analyzer for you. You're going to get all this stuff. One investment, $397. First 15 are going to get a Seller Financing Secrets ticket. And I will send you the Zoom link about a week before the event. And you'll have everything you need. Now, why did we do this? Kris and I started talking. And again, I'm like, I want to help 10,000 people replace their income, go full-time with real estate if that's their passion. Kris is like, then let's bring it to them. So this is what we really want to do. We love you guys. We want to help any way we can, and this is the best way we know how to do it. So,
yeah,
Kris, what else can we answer for them? I want to make sure that everybody has access to this and can start absolutely making it rain today.
Yeah, let's get some Q&A. But I want my rounduppers to know that yes, I reach out to these people and I request that they give us the best deal. And Mike has sold this thing for thousands of dollars. I've seen him do it. He's been on the stage and around the country doing this stuff. So you are getting a special, and this is good to, I think, Mike, you're going to give us to Cyber Monday or what?
Yep. So what we'll do, that's a great reminder for me. This will go through Cyber Monday next Tuesday, Monday at midnight. That'll be Pacific Standard Time. Monday at midnight, it will go away, and this deal will not exist. The first 15 people that buy, again, will get that free ticket and be able to be live at Seller Financing Secrets with us. The 16th person will still get everything and the recordings, and everybody after that, and they'll come on the coaching at the exact time. and we'll go from there. But yeah, this is good. I just so your family does know, Kris, I think you do call and ask for the best price because you have a mission to help people as well, and I'm thankful for that. And so we were really excited to bring this to you guys today.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some Q&A, Mike. If
Let's
you got
bring
some
it, man.
time.
I'm excited. This is exciting.
Matt wants to know if people can't afford their mortgage, how are they going to afford to pay their rent?
Good question. Good question. So what's going to happen is there is going to be, if they lose their home, it's the same thing in 2008, 2009. They couldn't, their home might be $1,500 a month. They'll probably go to a rent that's $1,000 or $900 a month. They'll probably go down in cost, but make it happen. Now, if they lost their jobs, they will most likely there'll be government money that will help them for that, or you'll just simply have to you'll have to get another tenant. Here's what's going to be weird about this, and I've been trying to tell people this for ever. What's going to be weird about this, what's coming up, is I do know there's going to be foreclosures. I don't think there's going to be as many as people think. There is going to be some because so many industries are going up. The industries that are going down, I think these people are just going to jump ship and go work for companies where they can make money.
I feel bad. I'm just looking at the restaurant industry, Mike. I'm just
devastated, right? See, you have the restaurant industry going down. Oh, by the way, next summer, best time in the world to start a restaurant.
Why you say that, Mike?
Because you'll have half the competition.
That's true. Good Lord. Oh,
once we're coming out of this thing, starting bars and restaurants and movie theaters, the things that have crashed, that's going to be the time to do it because you can get businesses for pennies on the dollar and you can ride that wave. What we saw in 2008 and 2009 in real estate, we're going to see in the next 3 years with small businesses that could be bought at pennies on the dollar and watch them they'll scale. But as the economy is going up, I mean, today we saw Dow as high as it's been. I mean, we're seeing it continue to go up, and the government isn't pumping money right now. It's going up because people are hopeful in some of the things that are coming out. So I don't know that we're going to see the crash people think we are.
Now, we all thought it was going to be here by now, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Like, oh no, everybody's scared. We were devastated scared at the beginning of this thing. Real estate's gone. Anyway, here we go. Brandon, how do you get funding? I mean, I guess we covered a lot of that. I don't know, Mike.
Yeah, funding. If you're talking about private money, the number one way, Kris has a prospectus. I know. Number one thing is building out just a one sheet about who you are, what you do, what kind of stuff you're investing in. Start handing that and having conversations, right? So start doing that.
Perspective. Better have your perspective, though. You ain't nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And in the CEO course, I walk through how to build that. I walk through my exact branding package, what I did, what I do, and I literally screen share and show you everything I have when I'm meeting with an investor.
Good. Dwayne, do you recommend to start off with house hacking by getting a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, Mike? First of all, before you answer that, explain house hacking from a round-uppers that don't quite understand that quickly, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, house hacking is when you live in part of your property and you rent out the other part to pay for your mortgage. So it's almost like you're living for free. I kind of learned this early on. So my parents, I grew up in this little house, or this big farmhouse, and on our property was this little like 400 square foot home that my parents rented out, and that paid for a lot of our mortgage. And so I saw that going on early on. So when you ask me, do I suggest it? Absolutely, especially if you're single and you're pretty mobile.
Single, yes,
definitely do it. I would, if I was starting over today. That's the one thing I did right when my wife and I got married is we house hacked, and it really saved us a lot of income.
You have kids too at that time, Mike?
Say that again.
You have kids when you were doing that?
I did not. Nope. Still don't have kids. Just me and my wife.
Okay. Well, shoot, that's a little different. So,
yeah,
I think it's important to take advantage of timing is everything too.
Totally, man. So true. So true. Yeah. House hacking, if you can make it work and you're in a life stage where that fits, I'd absolutely suggest it.
Papa Dappa says, Kris, clean up your desk. I would do that. I need to do that. You know what's weird?
You know what? I heard an Albert Einstein quote this week that was my favorite ever. Albert Einstein said, if a cluttered desk reflects a cluttered mind, what does an empty desk reflect?
I love it, Mike. Thank you.
I saw that this week. I read it, and the reason I read it is because my desk is a disaster, and I'm like, yes, Albert Einstein said I'm a genius. And so anyway, it was funny. I read that so I read that quote this weekend. So there you go, Chris.
Well, Papa Dapper, I don't know if I want to clean my. No, take that.
I love it.
I love you, Papa Dapper. I think I used to have a housekeeper, right? She'd come in. All I had to worry about was my house. I don't. I got to clean my own house now. All right. What about Maryland? Is that going to be a tenant or a land? I remember Dwayne wants to know. This came back when you were talking about landlord friendly.
So Maryland is an interesting state. In fact, Chris, you just had somebody come in and talk about Maryland investing, didn't you?
Yeah, we were in Baltimore last week. We are going to be allocating some funds up there, I believe.
Yeah. So I know a lot of investors investing in Maryland. Of course, you do have to be. It's not as landlord friendly as I'd like it to be, but it's better than some other states. It's certainly better in New York City and
Gotcha.
California and those kind of states. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a little bit more landlord friendly. But no, it's not. It's kind of in the middle. I'd call it in the middle.
Gotcha. I love this lady's name, Sub 2 and Heels. I got to get her on here. Subject 2 and Heels.
I love that.
Depreciate real property. Somebody's saying, God bless us all. Hope we have a wonderful year. Thank you. One
Amen.
call.
I agree with that.
Roundup, we've got Mike Fritz here. Head on over to the link for Mike's Black Friday special is in the video description. Head on over to that and invest in yourself. I mean, it's nothing but a couple nights out and dinner. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. When I look at what I spend on Starbucks and eating out, dude, I mean, say no for a month or month and a half, and you've got this, and
it's over.
It's over, and you have stuff that will fuel your future and fuel your income. So yeah, just do yourself a favor. I promise you, you won't be disappointed with all the content, especially if you get over there quickly. If those 15 aren't gone already, so definitely.
Let's see, Jenny L. Jenny L wants to know: was the apartment already converted from the office building when you got it? If not, yes. How long did it take for you to do the conversion?
Yes, it is. But a conversion, depending on the size, like I'm looking at a 8-unit conversion right now that has a restaurant below, 2 apartments behind, 5 apartments up, 6 apartments up, something like that. But that one's going to be, that one will probably take us in the 6 to 9 month range. 6 to 9 month range, depending on how good the contractors are you're working with.
You know what? You opened my mind up, man. I need to really think about this stuff myself. Michael Stallworth. Mike, what percentage do you pay your private investors?
Good question. So I target mostly equity investors, meaning they own an equity piece of the property and they get their percentage of equity, and that usually starts off in the 7 to 8, 9% range. And then if they own it with us 2 to 3 years, it bumps up in that 15, 16, 17% range.
Gotcha.
Yeah. In fact, here's a short little tip for you, a little nugget, which is why you need the multifamily CEO. But one of the things I do is my investors come in, I force appreciate the building. When I refinance, I give my money back to the investors at the refinance and let them keep equity. So now they're making money every month and they don't have any money in the deal.
Nice.
That's why people will keep investing with you for years upon years upon years.
Man, they will love you. Getting investors is, you just got to learn how to talk.
You got it. You guys are great though.
Roundup once again, Mike Fritz, multifamily housing. Matt Hall, did you find the private money before or after making your offer?
Matt, bring in the good questions. Okay, brother, on this one, I made the offer and then went and found the money. Now, I do not necessarily suggest doing that unless you want to lose your hair like I do.
Why did you do it like? Well, I want to know, how did you do it before, or does it change, or?
Yeah, so my preference is to have an investor. So you guys probably know what wholesaling is, listening to Chris. You find a contract and you don't even have to do anything. You sell it to a flipper. That's wholesaling, right? Well, reverse wholesaling is you find a buyer and then you go find the property. Well, I kind of am a reverse money raiser. Instead of finding the property and go finding the money, I like to find the money, then go find the property. And so I personally, this one, I didn't do it that way. I saw the property, I knew I wanted it, and then I went and found 4 investors that give me 50 grand each because I needed 200,000. But what I like to do is always be raising money. And when I get, I'm like, wow, I'm at 100 grand. All right, let's go find a $300,000-$400,000 property. Oh, I'm at $500,000. Okay, I'm going to go and find a $1.5 million property, whatever. So always raising money. And I like to raise the money before I get into a deal. Now, the bigger the multifamily deal, the harder it is to do that. But that's why you always want to be building your investor list. Always be building that list of people that could invest in your deals.
All the time. It's so crazy how you guys. Anyway, we already said that it's just so much more money in the system than it is you can ever borrow. Indeed, so many people have money. Yep, that's right. Funds need to deploy.
Absolutely.
Kathy, is it easier? Kathy feels. Hey, Kathy, is it easier to get started investing in multifamily than have less than 5 units? Sorry
yeah.
about that.
Okay. Good question. So I will say, from a raising money perspective, yes. From a bank perspective, no. So if those of you that don't know, 5 units and above is considered commercial. 4 units and below is considered residential. And so when you're raising money for 4 units and below, usually that's less money and you don't have to raise as much. But when you switch over to commercial lenders think a little bit more entrepreneurially. They look at the business, they look at the numbers. How much money is it bringing in? How much money is that? They think more like a business than just like banks worshiping the W-2. How much money do you make last year? Can you support the loan? I'll give you this much money. Mm-hmm. In a commercial, they put more emphasis on the deal than they do in 2 to 4 units. So working with banks is easier, 5 units and above. Raising money is easier 4 units and below because you don't have to raise as much. So it's kind of a catch-22. You might start at 2 to 4 just to get the ball rolling. And the good thing is, I don't know where it is in every state, but in most states, if you own rentals for 2 years, you can start counting that money as income on your taxes. But it takes 2 years of ownership before you can start counting that money as income. And then you can take it. That's for residential. Commercial, you can start it right away because it's considered a business.
Good question. Michael Starworth, the interest rate. We went over that one. Mike, did we cover that one already? Yeah.
Interest rate. You talking about for like what interest rates are we getting for loans?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all over the board. In the 3.5 range.
On the private money, Mike, what's the interest rate on what you're paying your private
money? So all depends on the private lender. By the way, side note, never tell your private lender what they're going to get paid. Ask them what they want. Because some people might be having it in a money market making 0.004% or whatever. And they might say, well, heck, 5% would be good right now. Mm-hmm. And you can pay them 5%, where somebody else might be a little more seasoned and be like, you know what, I want to loan it out for 9%, plus I want a little bit on the back end. Every private investor is a little different. So I always ask them, what is a win for you and how can I get that? Let them tell you.
Darren wants to know, where did you get the $200,000 for the down payment for that beautiful building, Mike?
Yeah. So I found 4 investors that invested $50,000 each.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So Mike, is that considered? I know somebody up here crowdfunding. I don't know.
Is it considered? It's not. It's crowdfunding is when you don't know the people. So when you're raising money for real estate, by the way, just so everybody is clear on this, you need to speak to your attorney, but you need to have a relationship with them before you can now private lending is different. If you're giving them equity in the deal, you need to have a relationship with them before you can just take money. You can't just walk up to a stranger, ask them for cash.
These fools. You know what's weird? I'm like, I always wonder, if I can't ask a stranger, who the hell? I don't know anybody with money. Why can't I? Right? I'm like, I need to know. I'm broke. I need to know people with money.
Exactly. So true. So true. This is the other mistake I made raising money. And I don't know if you made this mistake, Chris. I made the mistake early on, assuming people didn't have money.
Oh yes,
You
thinking
know,
they were
because
broke
maybe
like
they
me.
drove a 1998 Honda Accord, and I just assumed they didn't have money when they just didn't put emphasis on cars, but they have a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
You know, and that's a mistake I made early on. Don't make the decision for people and don't just assume people don't have money. Because again, they might have money in a retirement account, they might have money
yep.
in an IRA, equity in their
Stop.
home. You never know.
Roundup, as we're continuing with our questions, make sure you head on over to the link in the video description to download and invest in Mike's CEO, Multifamily CEO course, his seller financing secrets full-time one-day event. And for the first 15, you're going to get a ticket to the upcoming seller financing event. Thanks for that, Mike.
Oh man, this is I love this because I have a feeling that when people show up to that event, we're gonna have a blast that day. And of
Yep.
course, Kris is always welcome. Hopefully, Kris will be able to hop in, and he might do a surprise appearance if he's not
Yeah, I'll be there.
cranking
My,
that day.
my birthday's on the 4th, so I'll be able.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
then we're gonna have to sing happy birthday to Mr. Kris.
getting old, Mike. I'm like, where else
Oh,
am I
man.
gonna go? I can't leave the house. I can't go nowhere.
Yeah, that's true, right? I hope that ends soon, man. I want to start traveling again.
Jenny O, do you charge asset management fee? That was genius. And acquisition fee per investor?
I charge it per deal, not per investor, but per deal. So that asset management fee, it's not 15,000 per investor. 15,000 of that 200,000 was an asset management fee, and then out of the gross rents, I take that 2% asset management fee every month.
Gotcha. We just covered that. I had the same question. That's weird. Jenny O, who pays the investor? Does the property management pay them or do you pay them?
Oh, good question. Yeah, that's a great question. You can actually set your property managers up to just distribute to your investors and just tell them how much. You can do that for sure. I do it where my property manager puts they take out their management fee and any repairs we had that month and put the rest into a bank account. And 4 times a year, at the end of every quarter, at the end of every 90 days, I write a distribution check to our investors.
Good deal. D Storm. I live in Staten Island. Want to buy a multifamily, but here duplex prices points are 850,000. You might want to go up north. That's where I'm seeing people go.
There you go.
And 3 to 4 units are between 1 and 5 mil. Yeah, you can't. Wow.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
know
would be
about
real
that.
careful in New York. I just would
Yeah, man.
I would encourage you to look at some other markets.
Up north. I mean, I know people that are doing it. I've got clients up there. It's only
Yeah,
about an hour and a half maybe away.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there, D Storm. I don't know, man. Who the hell? I know my mentors are in Brooklyn. These dudes have owned their units since the 80s. So I'm like, and they don't even, he was like, man, I wouldn't even buy this stuff today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough market to crack.
Yep. Should I
Tough
pull the Jamar? What's up, brother? Should I pull the trigger on a 6-unit property? Highly distressed. I like that. 150. All units are rented. Private tenants, if acquired, I would rehab the units and convert to Section 8. Mike?
So good. Yeah, it sounds like what I don't know what market it's in, so it depends on where it's at. But it sounds like it would be a good cash flow unit. Sounds like it'd be a good cash flow unit. I'm always nervous to invest in really. I'm okay with distressed properties. I don't want real distressed areas because a lot of times you have trouble collecting rent. Now, if you're going to go to Section 8, that's the way to make a really distressed area property make sense and make money.
Yeah. Somebody said they loved your presentation for the 3-day Mike Wolf training. Mike, you were hanging out with Mike.
Yeah, Mike's a good guy.
Yep. We talked about that. Already. Christopher Willis, you can rewind the tape for that one. Matt, what type of returns? Oh, we did that. Define the properties. Nick J, we talked. We went over that one. Fourplex already. Ron, what's up, Ron? What are your thoughts on building a fourplex if you already have the land?
Good. If you have the land, development, the downside with development right now is construction cost is really high. So
2x4 is tripled.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, because you do flipping and renovation, so you would know that. So, yeah, so right now I would get a couple quotes and then just see what you can rent them for. It's all dependent on the area for development. I'm not. I'm actually looking at doing that. So I don't know that it's a bad idea. You just have to make sure you can get the money back because it is going to be higher to build right now.
Well, it's hard to build, but okay, so you're not selling it, Ron. So yeah, that's right. Because I'm saying, like, our gauges are changing every month, right? I'm like, I would have property I would have paid 80 for 2 months ago. I'm paying 90 for it now, but then
Exactly.
2x4s are up, so it's almost like the whole real estate game is up right now.
Yep. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. Yeah, your cost of acquisition's higher, meaning buy of the property.
Yep,
Cost of construction's higher, and your sale price is going to be higher.
that's it,
So,
right?
everything just is shifting up for sure, and rents are going up too.
Oh
in
yeah.
certain areas. Yeah.
Ron is going to hold it, so you got to really look at. I mean, I don't know. He'll have to factor that in what he wants to
Sure.
spend.
For sure.
Ruben, are you doing all of this without a real estate license, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Don't have a real estate license and probably never will. Yep. Probably never will.
That, Mike.
Yep. Yep. I like to leverage real estate agents, let them do their thing. Just not now, if I was in the flipping and wholesaling game, Kris can speak to this. If you should have your license or not, I hear mixed bag on that. You can sometimes slide your way in between contracts and generate some cash. But
That's
for
true.
me, just don't have any, don't have the license and keep trucking.
I thought about it, Ruben. People tell me you're throwing away so much money every year, probably because we could list a lot of stuff, but I'm still on the fence too. I'm like, nothing has burned me up that hot for me to go out there and get my license.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. It's the same thing with me. My wife's always like, yeah, but hon, it's a whole nother business thing. Just stick with, you're good at this. Stick with what you're good at. I'm like,
you might be right. Right.
She knows that she's a lot smarter than I am sometimes.
Ruben said he's learned a lot from you, from us. Okay, that's nice. Thank you, Ruben.
Good, Ruben. I'm glad, man. This is we love doing this stuff. I really want to see people start replacing that income.
That's right, brother. Nurse wants to work for himself. That's good thinking. Janelle, is this the same training from the last time? Channel. Is this is this your multifamily CEO we offered before, Mike?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yep. And Kris and I, this is the Black Friday special. If you had, now there's some different things thrown in this one than we didn't throw in last time. But yeah, it's the same thing. It has some updates since then, but yes.
Liania, I would love to retire. Oh, have multiple streams of income. Okay, nice. Good.
Absolutely. And this is a great way to do it. Because one of the things with transactional real estate, you buy a piece of property, you sell it, buy it, sell it, whatever. It creates good revenue, but it doesn't create passive revenue. And that's what we want both. You can have both. And this is why I love multifamily. You can have the transactional revenue with that acquisition fee, and then you can hold that property and keep making money month after month after month.
And it doesn't create any wealth. You're selling the asset.
It's a good point. Yeah, when you sell the asset, right, that's where your wealth lives, right?
You're done.
You got it.
Sorry about that. Everyday idiot. Okay. How do you structure the ROI for people that provide the funding?
So how do I structure the ROI? Does that say ROI? Did you say, Kris?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different on every single deal. Every single deal yields a little bit different return, but they get all of my investors have a portion of equity, and I have a portion of the equity. So I'll usually keep 30-ish, depending on the deal, 30%. I give 70% to my investors. And when we sell it, we go to 50-50, or if I refinance it, we go to 50-50. But either way, they have a portion of equity. I have a portion of equity. And I go through that way more in depth in the CEO course, so you understand that, because that's an advanced concept.
Susan, thanks for the presentation, Mike. Yes, multifamily is my dream. Hey, Susan, good.
Yeah. Multifamily is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you sell Everyday Idiot? Did you sell the building that you just presented? Where are my pictures at, Mike? You can bring them up.
Oh, yeah.
Did you sell the building?
I did not sell the building. Let me stop. Let me see what I can pull up for y'all real quick. Let me see if I have. I know I have it here, and you guys. There's Dixie Way. Let's see what I can find here. I think I can grab you some pictures.
Just one or two, Mike. I'm going for the next question.
Yeah.
Let me know. Don't lose that other slide too. please post the link. I cannot read the blue. Oh yeah, Sandra, the link is in the video description, my friend. Download and invest in Mike's multifamily CEO course along with the seller financing training and his deal analyzer too. There we go, Mike. Oh, okay.
So here we are. So this is some of the inside.
That's nice. Recessed lighting. Look at that lighting. Good grief.
Yeah, the lighting is beautiful. And it's
2-panel doors.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these units, these things are there's 6 units. 2 of them are 3 bedrooms, and they are 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, look at that. It's just a beautiful. These things that were just done so beautifully.
That is sweet, Mike.
Yeah, it's a pretty building. I have to say, Kris, this is I'm going to go back to there's your beautiful pictures there. I'm going to go back to here. I have to say though, when I was walking this property, I saw something I've never seen in all my history of looking at properties. I walked into one of the units as I was buying it to look in it, and she had a vase there. You couldn't get your arm down in it because she told me this. She had a vase there, and it was probably 4 feet tall, half filled with like 50s, 20s, and $100 bills.
What in the world?
And I'm like, lady, what are you keeping this around? She goes, oh, that's just my rainy day fund. I'm like, what kind of rain do you think is coming?
She making it rain like the hip hop dude.
I know. I'm like, what kind of rain do you think is on its way, man?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's that specific deal though. When I saw those pictures, I knew we could get more rents. It's a beautiful building, and we're right next to campus, and so there's even an opportunity in the future to switch it over to high end graduate housing, and we'll even make more money. And so it's good property.
Pastor Kenny, what is the best way to ask for seller financing with no money?
The best way to ask is to say, will you do seller financing?
It's a little different conversation with multifamilies than it is with single family.
Yeah, because a lot of people, with again, I go through this in the seller financing project in the live event more in detail. But the biggest thing that you want to do is you want to help. A lot of times you have to explain to owners what it is. They don't even know what it is.
Nope.
And you have to explain to them what that means and what are the benefits of doing it. It protects them from taxes. And, by them deferring all that money and getting interest, that a lot of times the interest they're charging you for helps cover their taxes. And so it's basically like tax free. And you help them see a lot of this stuff. I walked through this in depth in that seller financing event to make sure you understand why you would do it, how you find these owners, how do you negotiate it, et cetera.
And why it's good for them. Because remember, we're in the giving game. We don't want to, we're secondary. I want to look, this is what's in it for you. Boom, 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 boom.
Bingo. Absolutely. Yep.
Tabari, what if I can't get the course today, Mike?
If you can't get the course today, well, it will be open until Monday of next week. On Cyber Monday will be the last day. So if you can't do it today, do it tomorrow or whenever you can. But if this whole package was purchased after Monday, it isn't even packaged together like that. Each course will be the multifamily CEO course is $997, and the seller financing secrets will be $997 as well. You can just purchase whichever one would fit you, but this will be open until midnight Monday.
Martell, this is for my peoples. Okay, I literally crafted this. I called Mike. I'm telling you how I'm transparent. I called Mike up. He asked me how. He gave me his prices, all this stuff, what you guys would benefit from. We went over it, trying to sift it, sideways it, sell it this way. So it's pretty cut and dry, Mike. I don't feel like you're trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. This is the value that you're getting. We threw all this stuff together specifically for you guys, so.
Yep. And with $397, literally, it's a call. You just, you save a little for a few months and you've got your money back, and, you get one deal, and you're obviously one deal where you charge an acquisition fee and you're going to get 10 times this.
Yeah, I'm done. Every one of mine now. I'm thinking about the 2 that we're getting ready to close now. I need to.
Yeah. It changes the game, man, because it pays you for your time. You're worth it, right? Every one of us are worth it.
You know what? I like that. Maybe I am worth a few dollars. I don't know. My wife, stop listening to my wife, right?
That's right. That's right, man.
Round up. Go downstairs. Go to the video description and get that link.
And I'm not, and this specific package is truly the roundup. I'm not offering this on my I do real estate. I don't do a lot of this stuff, actually. I put some of these courses together. I literally finished the Multifamily CEO course when Kris and I first started talking. I wasn't even like thinking of doing this. He kind of inspired me. So this is, I more invest in real estate. So this isn't something I'm offering. I have this big mailing list and I do Facebook ads. I do none of that. I'm too busy doing deals.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is literally just for Kris's group. I'm doing this with nobody else.
Nice.
Yeah, nobody else is getting this offer. Nobody, because it really, I don't really do this. This is just something I'm putting together to help Kris's peeps.
Thank you. Thank you. We talked about meet Kafui. Just rewind that when we talked about the seller carry. Indy, how do you find contractors when you're out of state? Great question.
Yeah, great question. So inside of any state, when you own properties in a state you don't live in, you need a couple people. You need a property manager. You need you need a real estate agent. You need a contractor. You need some people in that city. And a lot of times when you find a property manager, they will know your contractors. A good property manager will know your contractor. So the biggest person you need to find is that property manager. And they will often know your contractors because they often have them in-house or they know people to work with.
Gotcha. Mike, you got it down. D Storm, he or she, primary residence, thinking about selling it to buy a multifamily. I want to do Section 8, but how do you feel, Mike, living in the same residence with them as a house hack on a multifamily? That's a great question.
That is a great question. Man. So I personally didn't do Section 8 in the homes I lived in for me personally, and it wasn't because I didn't want Section 8 people there. It was just the tenants I rented to didn't ask for Section 8 or
they were fine. You were getting your money.
Yeah, exactly. And I was getting my money, so it wasn't an issue. And whether you want to live in a place where there's Section 8, if that's kind of the thing next door, that's part of your comfortability. Like, what are you comfortable with? What are you used to? What do you feel good in? And you just want to make sure that you and your family feel good and safe and all that good stuff. So that's a more of a personal decision for you. For me, I never dealt with it just because nobody ever asked. If anybody would have ever asked for Section 8, I'd have just helped them get it. And stay there. But yeah, that was just didn't come up for me.
Bay Area real estate, is PropStream a good way to find private investors, Mike?
Good question. I've never used I've used the software to look for off-market deals, but never for actual investors, because I have found that any software that connects you with people you do not know is usually not a great way. The best way to build your investor base is with people you know and let it grow from there. That's the way I've found. And Kris, you can chime in here because you raise a lot of private money too. Starting with your network and growing out is the best way I've found.
It's so crazy. I don't even think about raising money as much as I used to before, because it's almost like if you look for the deals and you put people together, you start talking Bay Area.
Right.
But if you're starting out, don't be scared. And it's tough because it's so much, it's resistance. It's that totally. I used to tell myself, Kris, you're going to ask for some daggone money from somebody today. I had to psych myself up, Mike. I don't know about you.
Totally. Yeah. And one of the things I think one of the big mistakes is you have to stop thinking of it as you're a salesman versus you're offering people an opportunity.
It's best for them. You're helping them.
You're helping them make more money than they're going to make in the stock market. So you're not asking for money. You're inviting people into an opportunity. That's the way you have to change it in your head.
Yeah, I'm helping you. Exactly. I'm giving you a high rate of return. So Bay Area, when your posture, for me, my joint blew up when my posture changed. It's almost like now they're like, Kris, take our money. Now it's like they want us to take their money. But before I did just keep asking. You gotta just keep asking.
Exactly.
And don't feel like you're begging. Don't be like, panhandling. That does not work.
No, it does not. It does not. And one of the ways, be very nonchalant about it. But hey, I'm investing in real estate. I'm looking for some investors. If you're interested or know anybody interested, just let me know.
I don't know what it is about that, Mike, that works.
It's because I think sometimes people can sense desperation. And it scares them, because if you're desperate for money, it means that you're probably, if you're desperate, you're not good enough to get it. And in their mind, they're like, I don't want to invest with somebody desperate. I want to invest with, they also want to invest with somebody that doesn't need it.
Abundance.
And so you just want to go out there and just say, hey, you know what? If this is what I'm doing, if you're interested, let me know.
Let me know. I'm gone. I'm
Yep.
gone. And yeah. And even if you do need the money, like you need air at Bay Area, do not let them know.
So true. So true. I remember, like I said, that first one, man, I had a lot of sleepless nights, and I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to raise this money? Because if I couldn't raise that money, I'd had to lose my earnest deposit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I put, I think 10 grand or 15 grand down or something like that.
Oh my Lord.
You got to just work. I'm calling people, the 3 people I thought would invest all said no. And I'm like, oh, brother.
That's rough.
You talk about sleepless nights, but that was a really good learning experience for me, because I'm like, man, now I know. And all those 3 people that said no are eventually coming back to invest.
Came back. They probably gave you more later too, didn't they?
Yeah, probably, because you got that credibility, right?
Yep. That's so crazy. I promise you, Bay Area, you're gonna be getting people gonna get mad at you. What you mean? You didn't use my money?
Yeah. What's going on here? Why didn't you tell me you had a deal? Well, because I already had it funded. Well, you tell me next time. Yeah,
I'm telling you, Mike. You know, it's weird. They said this when I started. I didn't believe them, Mike. I didn't believe them.
I hear you, dude. I totally hear you, man.
Emmanuel, is Tennessee and Ohio good markets, Mike? For you, I don't know you. Okay, good.
Both are yes.
Yes, and yes.
Certain parts of, for a landlord friendly, yes.
Yeah.
But certain parts of, if you're talking about the market itself, stick to the bigger cities. Don't, by the way, in Ohio, don't go to Dayton and don't go to Cleveland. Those are both declining markets.
They're depressed. Yeah, the Cleveland's been depressed for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And Dayton just has, now Columbus hasn't decreased in population in 20 years. Columbus, good market. Cincinnati is starting to come back up. Cincinnati's a good market.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said Ohio's on fire.
Yeah, Ohio's a good market. The Midwest is kind of the sleeping giant right now in multifamily because it's cheaper, and so a lot of investors are coming here.
Mike, what type of Bernard wants to know what type of agreements do you put in place with your investors?
Okay, boy, that's a long answer.
Give them the short one. I know you could.
Depends. I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV. So I will tell you this: any agreement you put in place, make sure you connect with an attorney that can help you put together a proper contract. But it depends. There's 2 different ways to draw up a deal, and the contract is a little bit dependent. If you're just drawing an LLC, it literally is the operating agreement for an LLC. You can have any attorney draw up you an LLC, an operating agreement. It just outlines who's given what money and who has what percentage, and it's golden and it's over. If it's the syndication route, it's a whole different ball game, and that takes that document is like 150 pages, and a contract a lawyer has to draw that up and make sure it's done well, and it protects everybody, and so it's just a different way. So you just have to make sure depending on the way you do the deal.
And you could also just give them a deed of trust, Mike, couldn't you, in a promissory note? Yeah. I mean, you got levels of this thing.
Yeah, you have levels, but when they own equity in the deal, they have to. There is some nuances to contractual work when they own equity and they're passive investor and they're not having an active role. Mm-hmm. You have to put that in the contract.
Well, Mike, we got 100 people on here right now looking at getting your information. I don't want to scare them away because I know that there are certain levels that you can raise this thing. You don't. Let me ask you: do they have to do it that way where they have the syndication? I mean, that's taking it to 1,000. No.
You can do an LLC and have an LLC draw. You file it with your state for $50 or $100 and have an attorney draw you up an operating agreement for a couple $100 and you're done. So that's the way I would suggest you do it to start. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I did it to start.
So do you cover some of that in your multifamily CEO?
Oh, absolutely. I walk through specifically on the contractual stuff with your attorney, with your investors, because when you're raising money from people, you have to follow what they call the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. They have a lot of laws against taking money from people, and it protects people so that people don't get taken advantage of, and rightfully so. And so you have to have a pre-existing substantive relationship with somebody before you can take money on certain kinds of deals. And so this is why I don't want to get into the weeds here, but that's why a good real estate attorney is really important, because they'll tell you what you need.
Yep. Security. I didn't even know that real estate was a type of security.
Exactly.
I didn't know.
Exactly. It's a security. It's just like selling anything else.
Isn't
Yeah,
it crazy, Mike?
that they expect a return on.
The real estate is. I'm like, damn. I looked at that when the man pointed that out to me. I'm like, okay. Brian Knight, what if your family has Section 8 you live with? And okay, I guess he wants to buy the house and move his own family into the community. I don't know.
Oh, so he has a house and he wants to move the tenant out and have his family move in? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know, Brian. What if your family with Section 8 you live with? And I don't know, man. Mike, what do you think about that one?
I a little bit confused on the question. So if it was if he's saying that he wants to buy the property from his family, no problem there. It would just be the normal process. If he's asking like if somebody in his family, if part of it's already Section 8, it's a little bit confusing. If he wants to pop that question back in, let us know what he's asking. I can definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Good point. Good point, Mike. Shonda, what about the West Virginia? I know nothing about West Virginia.
Yeah, and I've never invested in West Virginia. Never invested in West Virginia. I've rarely found places that I would just say no to unless it's tenant friendly. Then I just say no to it.
Gotcha.
But because they're in Southwest Michigan, who's running after Southwest Michigan? And that's where I started and made a lot of money.
Nice.
And so you can make money in those market. We call them tertiary markets, but you can make money in those smaller markets. You just have to make sure that when you're buying and holding properties that you can get the rents out of them to justify the return on investment.
Tabari wants to know, can you ask for investors from social media like Facebook Market?
Yeah, so good question. The answer is not really, but maybe. And so it's very confusing, and I'm trying really hard because you guys are asking some amazing questions. What you can't do on social media is post a deal and say, hey, I have this deal. Does anybody want to invest? You cannot do that. That is illegal. What you can do is build relationships with people on social media. Let them know you're real estate investors. Say, hey, I'm looking to have conversations with people. If anybody's interested in learning more about investing in real estate, let me know what it looks like. And then you can start getting to know them, building a relationship, and then you can present a deal to them.
Gotcha.
So I always say you don't present a deal until you have 3 meetings with them.
Nice.
And that's straight from my attorney's mouth.
Okay. Round up. As we're closing up here, make sure you take a few seconds. Just click the link. Mike has the entire Multifamily CEO Black Friday special that will be going until Cyber Monday. You're going to get a CEO course, the Multifamily CEO course, seller financing secrets, and a ticket to the upcoming live event for seller financing secrets as well. And this deal analyzer to show you how to break down. Mike, how does that deal analyzer thing work? I don't know how.
So you're going to go. So when you talk to any real estate agent, they're going to send you the financials of a multifamily. Here's the income. Here's how much rent it gets. Here's how much expenses. Here's the taxes, insurance. Well, you're going to put all the numbers into this analyzer, and it's going to tell you what your return on investment is. So then you can go to your investor and say, this is how much money I need to raise. This left side here is going to tell you how much money you need to raise. The rest of it's going to tell you all your income, expenses, and then it's going to tell you how much return on investment there is, so you can tell their investors what to expect.
Yeah. Round up. Invest in yourself. Got 110 people on here, Mike. Jenny L wants to know, how do you determine if a state is or isn't tenant friendly, Mike?
This isn't going to be, you ask somebody that owns property there. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but most of the states that you want to invest in, I probably know people that own property there. West Virginia is a little bit of is an anomaly because I don't know anybody that is investing there currently. But if you stay in the southeastern states, southern states, some of the southwest states, not as far as California, you're going to see most states are in the middle or landlord friendly. You have some heavy states that go to tenant friendly when you get into some of the California, New York kind of states.
Brian, can he buy the building and move his family in with Section 8, Mike?
With Section 8, if you own the building, I do not get stumped on questions that often, but I do not know that.
Well, they do, Mike. I know. I can pull it out. Every new voucher that I get, it has a box in there that says, "Are you related to the tenant?" So I have never had to check that box, but I'm presuming that you check it if you're a relative.
Yeah, if you're a relative, for sure. So if you buy it and move if you buy it and move your family, I thought you meant your own personal family. So like you were going to be the Section 8 tenant and you were also the owner. If you're just moving your family into it, yes, I've got to believe it would be just like anything else. They would have to file for the Section 8, get it.
Yep.
And I have a feeling that's exactly the case. By the way, smart.
JC, any advice for investing in multifamily in the high-priced markets in California?
Yeah. Okay. So if you are gonna stick in California with the high-priced markets, you're just gonna have to become really good at raising capital. And I would first say my first, because I care about you, my first suggestion is don't. My second suggestion is if you're like, that's what you're going to do, then be really good at raising capital and be very selective on your tenant on the front end.
Gotcha. Danielle wants to know, how do you screen your investors to ensure that they are right for your business, Mike?
Oh my goodness. So whoever that is, give them a double love and hug, because that's a brilliant question.
All money, I don't want it. All money ain't good money, right?
Oh, I was just going to say that, Chris, not in that way, but I was going to say there are money, believe it or not, and I know this is hard to understand.
I don't want
it. There are some money I do not want, because I'll tell you, some crazy people out there. Here's what I always say. There's only one thing worse than a crazy person in which I have their money.
Oh my Lord.
And so I always say, yeah, so there is a screening process. And part of that is that relationship piece. I've gotten to the point in my business where I don't want to work with, and I hope this comes off in love, but I don't want to work with people that like kind of rub me the wrong way, or
difficult,
that are difficult people to work with, or annoying. And so to me, I'm like, you know what? There are people that probably fit and their personalities match. And, you know, Chris did the disc thing. There's probably things where they match up perfectly. Go invest with them. They'll be a great partner for you. For me, I kind of run my business a certain way. And so part of that is finding that personality match. And also finding people that trust me to do my job well. And I do my best for my investors, and finding people that trust me to do my job well. And that'll also, you'll find out later on, you won't want to take less than a certain amount, because the person you take $10,000 from, if that's what they have to invest, they probably are going to be a harder person to work with than the person that invests 100,000. It's just the way it is. And so, yeah.
Speed of Trust, y'all. Stephen Covey, Speed of Trust.
Such a good book. Oh my gosh, that book is amazing.
When you trust Mike, when you trust these people, it's like, I know. Anyway, yeah. When you got that, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Trust is the great accelerator to any business.
Yep.
And you can, especially with investors. But yeah, you definitely want to screen them and find the ones that click with you.
Mike, thank you so much. Round up. Take a few seconds. Mike, give us one more time for your offer. What did they get for the one investment here for your Black Friday special? Mike, when we get out of here.
15 people, if that's not already taken, you're going to get the Multifamily CEO course. It's over 30 training videos of how to find, fund, and operate deals. Everything for how to find a property manager, how to interview them, how to find money, how to set up the structure. And then you're going to get this deal analyzer. In the Multifamily CEO course, I'm going to walk you through how to use this analyzer. So you're going to walk through how to use the analyzer, and you're going to be able to analyze your own deals. And then the first 15 people are going to get a free ticket to Seller Financing Secrets Live. That event's going to be December 5th on that Saturday. We're going to start at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and we're going to go for about 6 hours. Right after that event, you're going to get a free group coaching session with me just for you, you all. You're going to get to ask your questions. And you get all of that for one investment of $397, which if you know anything about real estate, because you're here, I know you do. You know more about multifamily than most people just by being here today.
I know I do.
You're going to make a lot more money than $397.
That's nice.
So, and that link that we have on there, and Chris has it in the description of the video. Go ahead and copy paste that in your thing into your search bar and go snag that, and you'll get instant access to the Multifamily CEO. You won't get access to the Seller Financing Secrets because it hasn't been recorded yet. We're going to record it December 5th, and then you'll get lifetime access to that. So if you're after the 16th, if you're the 16th person, you'll still get the course. It'll just be right after we film it and chop it up, and then we'll put it in there for you. You get all that, one payment of $397.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
It's going to be great. I'm really glad we could do this today, Kris.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Y'all make sure you give Mike a thumbs up, please, and down below. And you don't even have to copy and paste it. You could just go to the video description and click the link. It'll take you right to it.
Perfect.
Give them a thumbs up and share this content. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out here working for you. I'm just a street reporter. I'm just a street reporter trying to find the best. I started the roundup, to be honest with you, to round up the best experts. Literally, Mike, back in 2010, I wanted to round up the best real estate people.
I love it, man.
Then it just morphed into this whole little crazy thing that it is now. So
I love it. Well, you're doing some great work, and you have a huge following that really are some movers and shakers. I mean, I've gotten to know some of them, and they are really doing some cool stuff, man.
Something in it, Mike. All right, roundup. Listen, tomorrow I've got my mentor Scott Jelinek. He's coming on how to teach you how to do his slow flips, and obviously I've already talked to him about some goodies he'll be giving us. Scott Jelinek has over 100 single family homes. So if you're interested in learning that single family stuff, make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Mike, Fritz, final thought, and we'll get out of here.
Final thought, again, anybody can do multifamily. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters what you do next. And multifamily is accessible to everybody. It's not only for the uber rich or the uber elite. It's for anybody who's willing to go raise some money and put an offer in on a deal. That's who it's for. And I believe that can be you. And so I'm excited to see you all on the inside. I hope to see you at Seller Financing Secrets Live. I hope to get to see you and meet you there. That would be fantastic. And of course, Kris, it's always a pleasure to partner with you, my friend, and help people. And I love real estate, and I love the people I get to meet in this industry like you. So
that's right. That's right. Okay, Roundup. Listen, I love you. You know I do. And I'll see you guys on the next video tomorrow. I think we're going to be live around 1:30 Eastern Standard. Get ready for Thanksgiving. You eating this. You eating. You're not cooking, right? You just eating.
I'm just eating.
All right. Roundup. See y'all next time. Peace.
All right. See ya.